Thank you so much, Pat, for having me. And I am grateful for you, for this space, and for this opportunity. And actually, I'd like to start since you asked everybody to share what they're grateful for. I'd like to start with that before I go into my talk. I'm grateful to be here in Malta. I actually received this invitation quite fortuitously. I've been in Florence, Italy for about a month now. I'm renovating a property there, and I got this invitation and to come here by some diplomats and receive an award because of the work that I've done, but specifically because the diplomats here, they're part of what they call G100. So it's a community of people who are really trying to instill change in the world across countries around sustainability and equality. Today was the first day of the conference. Tomorrow is going to be the awards and my speech. So I thought I would share my talk that I'm going to share with everybody here tomorrow, with you guys today. And so what I'm grateful for is really this opportunity to talk about what's important and actually be a part of change makers that are really committed and taking action to creating a more equal and sustainable world for all of us. And today when we were in a roundtable, and then I'll start my talk really quickly, we were really talking about how I got to meet the commissioner for the EU commissioner from Malta, and she shared that statistics show that unfortunately the equality difference between men and women has regressed. Unfortunately, with the difficulties that COVID brought, we've regressed a little bit. So we get to, really do even more of this work. And all of you here are doing their share with the work that you're doing, with the passion and purpose that you're putting. So I'm grateful for all of you as well for being committed to what you do. So with that, I'm going to share my talk. So my talk is really around courage and how courage is really the indicator for success. It's the indicator for happiness, and it's the indicator for prosperity. And I'm going to tell you a story. So there I was, totally anxious, scared, excited, happy. I was standing on the porch of my hotel in Ubud, Bali, because I knew that I was going to have my breakthrough. I had flown all the way from LA to Bali to have a breakthrough. I knew that within myself, there was something that was halting me. It was impeding me. It was holding me back, but I just couldn't put a finger on it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go on this transformational retreat in Bali, and I'm going to have my breakthrough. So there I was standing on the balcony, and I could hear the birds chirping, chip, 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 the frogs croaking. And the frogs in Bali, by the way, have this really deep gutter, but beautiful croak. So, right? And I was kind of shaking. I got ready and I went to the lobby to meet the other participants, because that day our coach was going to take us on an adventure to face our biggest fear. I had no clue what that was. I knew that on the way there, I thought all sorts of things. My mind just was running wild and invented. He's going to have us eat spiders. He's going to have us jump from airplanes. He's going to have us buried alive. I just had no clue, but my mind kind of started inventing its own little stories, right? Maybe based on my upbringing, based on what I had been exposed to, based on my culture, based on my conditioning. And so I was shaking in my boots, but I pressed on. So I met my fellow participants. We got on the bus, and there we went. And all of a sudden, the bus stopped. The coach tells us to leave the bus and line up one next to each other. He then proceeds to give us a blindfold. And at that point, I just was like, fear just took me over. I started grasping to one of the other ladies there, and I started crying. I was just totally terrified. I put the blindfold on, and I feel my arm, right, gets grabbed, and I hear a voice, "You lead." So I had to, with a blindfold, lead 9 other souls through the busy streets of Ubud. And all I could hear, apart from the, the zipping of all the mopeds, step forward, step left, step up, step right, step down. And all I could hear was the voice guiding me. But everything was darkness. And thinking back, in that darkness, I was taking steps. You know how sometimes in life we think that we're doing the right things, we're on the right path, but then sometimes we get swayed off, right? We get pulled away, we get held back, we get confused, we get doubtful, we get scared. And so in that process, in that experience, there were 3 things that became clearly apparent. And I'm going to share those with you. Number 1, I was the creator of my reality. All of those things that my mind was inventing, they weren't true. What was real, what was happening in the moment. What was real was happening moment to moment to moment, right? And I got to choose. I got to choose whether to step up, step down, step left, step right, not participate at all. I got to create my reality. Number 2, if it's to be, it's up to me, right? I wanted a breakthrough. I wanted to overcome what had been holding me back. Because see, deeply within, I had visions. I had visions of me speaking languages, of me traveling the world, me contributing. I wanted to serve. I remember so deeply sometimes praying on my knees to God, please use me as your vessel. I want to serve. So I had the visions. I had the desire. I had that pull, that call. However, things were stopping me. And I realized, though, if it's to be, it's up to me, right? So in your life, there's something that you want to have happen. If it's to be, it's up to you. Number 3, the one thing that pulled me through that experience, the one thing that had me get on the plane, fly over there, was courage. Courage, even though I was afraid, right? So courage, the definition of courage is to act even though you're afraid. So even though I was afraid, I took steps. I took a leap in faith. I listened, right? I listened to the calling. I listened to my desire. I listened to my purpose and to what was inspiring me. So courage really is the determinator. It is after that experience, once I came back and I integrated, things just opened up. Everything opened up. My life changed. And I contributed it all to courage, to really digging deep and accessing courage. And there's actually there's science that shows us that energetically, every emotion has a frequency. Courage actually vibrates at a frequency of 200. And that courage is the frequency, is the energy, the emotion that separates contraction and expansion, freedom and prison. And I'm talking about internal prison, right? Struggle, right? Strife. Courage is the place where doors open, where possibility happens, where miracles happen. And a lot of the world lives in contraction, lives in fear, anger, pride, the bad pride, not the good pride, shame, grief, loss. It all keeps you below courage. It's when we step up and we act even though we are afraid that beauty happens, happiness happens, prosperity happens, success happens. And so I wanted to share this message with you because it's really important, especially for women. And we were talking about this today. And let me know, Pat, when my time is up, because I was going to start my timer, but I forgot to. So I'm sorry about that. We were talking about courage, that women globally, historically, we've been suppressed. Our feminine energy has been shut down. And so in order for us to get back to there, we get to dig deep and we get to be courageous. So I'm going to finish with this because I know that you're wondering what happened after that blindfolded experience, right? So there I was leading these 900 souls. I could hear these mopeds whizzing by. I could hear people talking and my heart was pounding, right? And at the end, our coach says, okay, you can stop, has us line up, has us take off our blindfold. And what we were in front of was the most beautiful view, most beautiful creation of nature that I've ever seen. It was waterfalls, the green of the jungle. It was so beautiful. And for the next 5 hours, several people proceeded to indulge us in massages and treats and beautiful music and food. It was an experience of a lifetime. And I love telling this story because what I want you to hear in this is that no matter what you go through, no matter the challenges, no matter the obstacles, through courage, you can get to beauty. You can get to that peace. You can get to what it is that you want. You can get to really your dreams come true. So thank you again for having me and allowing me to share this talk and this really message that I'm really passionate about, because it is, I see it even with my clients. When they dig in courage, they can create anything. And what I would like also to share is, if you feel called to have a conversation around how you too can step into courage, I'm going to leave a link to my calendar. It's totally complimentary, no strings attached. I usually charge for my time, but for this, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I'm going to give you 30 minutes of my time to just have this conversation and see how I can support you. So this is my link. And thank you again, Pat, for letting me share this. And if I have a few more minutes, I'll share about the LA Club, but I'm gonna hand it off to you, Pat.
No, yeah, go ahead and talk about the LA Club. It's fine, real quickly.
So LA is another one of the clubs that we have here at Global Woman. We have been around for quite a bit, almost 5 years, let me think. Yeah, almost 5 years. So I'd love to invite you all to come to our next meeting, which is next week, November 9th. I will put the link in the chat as well. It's going to be a really special meeting because I won't be in LA. I'm actually going to be back in Florence. So we're having a Global Woman LA meeting in Florence. You'll be exposed and you'll get to network with other women in business in Florence, Italy, and obviously with all of the Global Woman ladies that come from all of the other parts of the world and from the Global Woman ladies in LA. So I will share the link there. Please come. Would love to have you.